For people living with cystic fibrosis, a lung transplant brings both optimism and uncertainty. In this video, we ask lung transplant recipients to describe their thoughts and feelings both before and after transplant. These stories are powerful messages about the rollercoaster ride of lung transplant and the boundless optimism within every person who lives with cystic fibrosis.
So before my transplant, a month before specifically, my lung collapsed. I think it was my third collapsed lung. We attempted a pleurodesis and it failed. The lung wouldn't seal itself back up. And when the pleurodesis failed, my other lung also collapsed. So during that month I was in the Royal Adelaide, I actually did my workup then. And by the time they flew me over emergency to Melbourne for ICU, I still wasn't listed. And I was only signing, I think I only signed the paperwork 2 days before I actually got the call. So yeah, I was pretty poorly and had probably another day left by that stage when I got the call.
I never stopped doing things because of my illness. I always worked a way around it. And in the early years, that wasn't very hard to do. But as time went on and I got sicker, I had to work around it more and more, and the balance shifted between it not being invasive to taking up my whole life.
Before the transplant, I was pretty much confined to the couch. I needed help from, my husband would help me to go to the toilet, or he'd do all of the meals, all that sort of stuff, and I basically sat on the couch and waited for the days to pass.
My life before transplant was, I guess, different to everybody else's in the fact that I was only diagnosed with CF when I was 61 years of age. And the time between diagnosis and transplant was only 8 months. So I really didn't have time to think about it or react differently or anything. The decline was fairly rapid in the 18 months before transplant, but I guess most of my life I'd had chest problems anyway. I was diagnosed with CF in September 2016 and had surgery in May 2017. I was only on the official waiting list for 11 weeks of that time. Before I received that phone call at 4 a.m. in the morning. I guess day-to-day planning was fairly difficult, having to work out how much oxygen to take with me on outings and that type of thing. There's a concentrator at home which gave me 10 metres of freedom from the middle of the house to the front or the back of the house. Yeah, it was really quite difficult and everything had to be pre-planned.
Yeah, life since transplant's been very positive. I can do so much more now than what I used to be able to do. I've got control back of my life.
Well, since my transplant, I've become a lot more social. I always loved to be social, but now I can actually get out there and, meet friends for coffee or go out for dinner. And, I've even found myself on the sidelines at sport again, which I haven't done for absolutely years. So that was really good to get out of the house again.
Since my transplant, life has been great. I'm able to get out and exercise. I'm able to play with the kids. I'm able to take that shower by myself and go to the toilet by myself. I had a project that I started with my son before transplant, which was our car, and we got to finish that after transplant, so that was quite good. And just loving life, really.
Amazing, incredible, you name it. Surgery and recovery was fairly hassle-free, which was great for me, and I've had no hiccups along the way. And it's now been 9 months since surgery, and I've resumed what I call now as a normal life, even though I didn't know what normal was before. I'm back doing craft work and reading and sewing and volunteering and quality time with two 2-year-old grandsons.
I was walking 13 days afterwards. 10 months afterwards, I was snowboarding in Hotham.
do some travelling this year, which I haven't done prior due to you worry about getting sick all the time, coughing, taking all your medications and everything with you, whereas now it's just tablets, so they're easier to take on the plane and stuff like that. So
I feel that they're more realistic now. That's where before I didn't. I can sort of look a bit more into the future with hope. And yeah, just take each day as it comes, and every day that I'm here is a bonus.
I still have the same dreams and plans that I had before. I have more plans now, and I have to think about things like superannuation and whether I will buy a house, or whether I will pay off my credit card debt. The sort of adult things you have to think about long term. Who's going to look after my parents when they get old? Rather than just being able to think about the current present and doing what I enjoy.
I've always been a pretty optimistic, outgoing kind of person, so I still have all those hopes and dreams, and a lot of them I have fulfilled. You know, just getting out and about and being who I really am.
There was not one time that I thought I was going to die, but I guess it was just around the corner. And I now have a full appreciation of life.
I wish I had known before my transplant about all the complications and how many things go wrong, because when I woke up and I was still very unwell and still quite sick, it was a lot to deal with psychologically. I didn't have any time to prepare for those kind of obstacles. I didn't have any contingency plans to work around that in my life, and it was quite overwhelming.
I wish I knew prior to transplant that you're not alone, that other people are having similar issues to you, even though we've all got a different story to tell. Yeah, everybody's basically going through similar issues, depending on obviously diseases and stuff going into the transplant.
Before I had my transplant, I wish I'd been informed about some of the success stories in South Australia. A lot of my own age group and the people I was in hospital with through my childhood, they didn't actually make it through transplant. And while I know that, you know, it's the good and the bad and it is the luck of the draw, it really put me off, and it's why I took so long and got to the point where I was end stage and both of my lungs were collapsed and I had no other opportunity to say, yeah, I need a transplant.
People look at you and they say, oh, you must be all better now because you've got new lungs, but it's really not that simple. You know, we have extra medications, they affect our kidneys, our liver, even our eyesight and hearing. So we still have those other complications that were the same as when we had cystic fibrosis, like in our lungs as well. So, you know, those concerns are still all there. And then you have other things that come on top, like resistance to medications and just generally becoming unwell because your body still is very ill. It's just a matter of coping.
But the most stressful time was, I guess, the work up, the lead up to the getting on the waiting list, on the official waiting list. And I was just amazed how quick and easy the whole process was, the surgery and recovery. So I guess looking back, if I had have known it was going to be hassle-free, it would have been just a bit more easier, but it was still great.
Organ donation is so wonderful. My donor in particular was able to donate all of, I think it was 10 of his organs to recipients. So, and you know, I'm just one of those people, and it means everything to myself, but it means so much to my family and friends as well. It's just awesome.
I would like the public to know that you're not going to need your organs after you die. You don't need them. So why not just donate?
Unfortunately for some people, the the families go against your wishes, and if that's mentioned during the time that the conversation's brought up, the nurses generally don't go through with the organ donation. So I think that you need to communicate with your family and friends with what your wishes are.
Because if it wasn't for transplant, I wouldn't be here with my children, and I've had an extra 3 Christmases already with them. So to me, it's one of the most important things in life.
One donor is actually able to help 10 recipients. And basically, as I said earlier, without a transplant, I would have had no future. Discuss your wishes with your family, fill out the registration form and get the ball rolling. And just urge your family and friends to donate.
Everyone should be an organ donor, because even if you think your lungs are shit, they're still going to be better than what I had. Can I say that? I'd like to say to my organ donor, besides the obvious, is what were you like? I wanted to know details about them. Do they like eating nuts? Because I hated nuts before transplant, and now I can't stop eating them. How did they like their coffee? I want to know details about their life and who they were.
I'd like to say to my organ donor, well, obviously thank you, but I mean, what do you say? I mean, I'm here because of them and their families, and all I can say is just keep on gifting.
I would like to tell my organ donor, you know you're up there, thank you.
I just say thank you so much. I pray for them every day. I think about him or her every day, and their family, and I just wish them so much good luck and health, and to the family, and just for that eternal soul. I know that he's with God, or she's with God, and I just thank him so much.
I thank you from the very bottom of my new lungs.
I don't know that I can say anything. Thank you doesn't cover it. But what else is there?